type of organization of a particular business which always surrounds with the social and the environmental concern, which always includes all those types of organization which deals with the non-profit type of organization of a particular business which always surrounds with the social and the environmental social entrepreneurs which always includes all those types of organization which deals because their non-profit type of organization of a particular business which always surrounds with the social and the environment. Social entrepreneurs which always includes all those types of organization which deals because their non-profit type of organization of a particular business which always surrounds with the social and the environment. Social entrepreneurs which always includes all those types of organization which deals because their non-type of organization of a particular business which always surrounds with the social and the environment. Social entrepreneurs which always includes all those types of organization which deals because their non-type of organization of a particular business which always surrounds with the social and the environment. Social entrepreneurs always includes all those types of organization which deals because their non-type of organization of a particular business which always surrounds with the social and the environment. Social entrepreneurs always includes all those types of organization which deals because their non-type of organization of a particular business which always surrounds with the social and the environment. Social entrepreneurs always includes all those types of organization which deals because their non-type of organization of a particular business which always surrounds with the social and the environment. They considering the health of the people, how they will make up regulations for the welfare or to safeguard the weaker section of the society. So when any of the entrepreneurs belongs to fulfill the social mission for the welfare of the country, for the people or community or society, that actually called the social entrepreneurship. So when any of the let's come to the next section, that is the major elements of social entrepreneurship. When we talk about the major elements, there are four major elements of the same. The first one is social mission. It always talk about the launching a mission driver businesses where the main focus is all about an advancement, is the innovation for the particular public. So the intention of such launch about the mission driven businesses, the intention is to donate some portion of your income or even the whole of your income to the advancement of the charitable cause. It is very important for the social entrepreneurs who are actually being into an entrepreneurship and earnings billions of profits or millions of the profits. The intention of such a social entrepreneur, the social mission, is to donate a portion of such profits or the income to the advancement of a charitable cause. It also provides the consumer with the sense that whatever they purchase, they will contribute to the greater good. Like if you can see that to the retailer shops where the fast moving consumers in the Reliance Fresh, you can see in the Reliance Trends, you can see that if you buy any product, a small amount of your payment contribution is goes to the you can say child care of any of the charitable organization, and that's called the social mission, which is one of the major element of the social entrepreneurship. The next one is the motivation for social change, the opportunity to make a good contribution to the society. It always enhances to improve the quality of the people for individuals within the community. And of course, such particular motivation have a much more potential for their personal growth, fulfillment of their own needs. They have full freedom to investigate and develop what would be the best approaches to address the social concern or the social problems, so that more and more public would get aware about such issues which has been spread all throughout the country. Next one is to motivate others to do the same. As you can see, the workshop and seminars has been conducted for your own personal fulfillment to do something for the society and come forward together and just address about the social concern and issues through that workshop, and that is called a motivation of a social change, to change the perspective thoughts of the society. Next one is the socio-economic value creation, just to integrate the resources, inputs, policies, and process innovatively to produce, you can see the improvements in the life of the people or in the life of the society as a whole, to develop or to focus more and more on social values and norms rather than focus on the market value of goods and services. Wealth creation in a sustainable way is the best approach to create the value into the minds of the society. Next one is as a long-term social and economic impact. We always talk about the women empowerment. There's so many social help groups who always work for the women, who always work for the safety of the women, and which ultimately leads to a long-term and a social and the economic impact of their lives. Next one is the successful implementation of changes. So the application of the social entrepreneurship, it always requires that involvement of both are actually necessary at the micro and the macro levels. It automatically improve the individual growth and of course the social growth as well. It always considers the breadth, the depth, and the complexities of the society, so that the implementations of the programs or the structures which always work for the welfare on a systematic scale. Apart from this particular discussion, there is also one of the organization for economic cooperation and development, which stands for OECD 2022. He has this organization has also defined the social entrepreneurship as a process through which a specific type of actors who are being as a social entrepreneurs, they can create, they can develop the organization, maybe other social enterprises or other types of organization who work for the society innovation and for the involvement more and more for the growth of such society and communities. And that is all about the social major elements of the social entrepreneurship. Now we can talk about the overview of the social problems in India. So being as a social entrepreneur, it is very important when you create any products, when you do for the society and communities for the well-being, on their well-being. So it is very important to study or to understand the social problems in India as well. For many decades, India has been struggling with a wide range of development environmental issues and social problems. And these issues are not belong only to poverty and unemployment, but it also belongs to the healthcare, education, unemployment, water and sanitation, environmental issues, and delinquency, and the livelihood concern. It is a result of the and such issues, such developmental and social problem exist due to the higher population growth rate, which consistently growing the social and environmental needs with a limited resources. According to the United Nation Developmental Index report, it always talk about the Human Development Index in 2020. So India position was ranked. It's 131 by the agency. It always includes such index always includes the life expectancy, educational attainment, and the per capita income, which always reveals the human development score in of the particular country. And such scoring always shows that there is a tremendous amount of the scope for the improvement. And this evidence or such report is always sufficient to indicate that there is a big gap to be filled in. There is a social disparity that exists to fill this gap. Economic growth cannot itself can achieve the developmental objectives due to the higher growth of population or due to the rapid growth rate, which automatically indicates that whatever the benefits achieved from the economic growth may not be sufficient for or to solve or to resolve the social problems and social issues. So social and entrepreneurship undoubtedly could be a mean or could be a solution to reduce such gap. It also such entrepreneurship which always gives an opportunity to all the sections of the society, which always positively contribute to the development of the community and society and minimize this social disparity gap. So at present, social entrepreneurs have identified the plenty of social problems, and of course, the same social entrepreneurs also providing the workable solutions to resolve such problems in India. So this is an overview of the social problems in India and how the social entrepreneurship conceptual framework could work to resolve these social issues. Now we can come up to the essential characteristics of the social entrepreneurs. The first one is curiosity. So the social entrepreneurs must nurture a sense of curiosity to know about the people life, the problems they actually face. They must be curious to visit to such people to understand their needs and desires of the people that they actually serve for. There is a great ventures or social ventures has been started through the impulsive market research, the empathic, you can say centric process, so that social entrepreneurs could gain a much knowledge about their own field. So let's take an example. The founders of the Shakti Appraisal, which have launched their ventures after working with the villagers in rural India and learning about their lifestyles. So this is how we talk about the curiosity that they are such the founders are so much curious to know, to learn something which is beneficial for the rural people, for the rural villagers in India, and it could be launched anything for their beneficial after learning their lifestyle. So this is a product which has been launched through their new venture after knowing their life, after knowing their needs and desires. Uh, and accordingly they have launched such product. This is called a Shakti Appraisal. The next one is inspiration. In order to design any effective solutions, social entrepreneurs always inspired by the people and the problems they actually encounter for. Inspiration always motivates actions and helps you can say social entrepreneurs that how they will tackle up these challenges that the others who always shy or feel very shy from the advertisements. Let's take an example to understand these characteristics. When he learned the same, against the founders, learn his blind friend has no way to tell time. The founder on set up on a mission to design a particular effective solution to his friend problem. That is called the inspiration. When he saw something, he tried to resolve his or her problem immediately. Like if they are in India, there are plenty of the you can see the people who are having an issues, an eye issue. So Lenskart founder who have already designed a latest and innovative technology specs, lenses, which always helps the plenty of the people to resolve their eyes issues. So this is how the inspiration element characteristics will help to the social entrepreneurs. Next one is resourceful. In the world of the social entrepreneur, the key resources like human resource, financial capital, which always become scarce or always face a shortage of resources. So the successful social entrepreneurs know how to leverage that resources on their own terms and develop the innovative methods to overcome such shortages. So let's take an example when the particular founder that is appraisal the founders that is appraisal products that they have launched a new venture when the founders needed capital, the founder of Parker Appraisal held an Apaka betting zoo at the well-known restaurant and bar to raise early stage funds for its venture. So this is how when they needed capital, the founder held up Alpha Petting Zoo at a well-known restaurant where to raise the early stage funds for its venture. So if anyone willing, any social entrepreneur willing to start their own venture, a new product, they need the funds to resourceful so they can go to the restaurants where plenty of people would come up and they can raise their funds for this new venture. So anyone would interested and willing to provide the funds, they can do that. Next one is it's pragmatism. Changing the world will always take time, effort, and it always keeps on experimenting the situations, the circumstances, or study them immediately. While the visions for massive social change may provide their inspiration, and experienced social entrepreneurs know how to take a small step to achieve their goals. And the great social ventures are not born overnight. It takes a long years. So let's take an example. The founder of Be as New Wear is working on to reform the systems that put youth at risk by taking a small steps, such as performing a small group education intervention and selling hoodies to fund her work. So they will give a workshop and education systems that how they can work if they how they can work as an entrepreneur if they don't have funds, how they will have a discussion among the small group and how they will sell hoodies to fund her own work. So this is how they will work. So if any unemployed person know being as an entrepreneur, how they will take a small steps to earn or to you can say make it successful about his own venture, then definitely pragmatism is always one of the main characteristics of social entrepreneurs to be applied for. Next one is adaptability. Social entrepreneurs will remain open to the solution. It includes knowing when to pilot and change their strategies if any of the methods are not being to be successful. So adaptability and the flexibility are the integral parts, or you can say concern in the development of the early stages of social enterprises. Let's take an example to understand the adaptability characteristic of social entrepreneurship. A salty girl initially was going to create a platform linking fisheries to chef, but they piloted to selling sustainable traceable fish directly to consumer. So instead of you can say providing the fisheries to chef, they ultimately change their mindset to sell directly to the consumers about the sustainable and the traceable fish. So this is how the adaptability characteristics works by the social entrepreneurs. Openness to collaboration. So while having a mission to change the world, and if the social entrepreneur may feels lonely, it is very important to remember that social entrepreneurship is a team sport and other people are willing to help. So automatically everyone is being as a team to work together to achieve its own mission. So the social entrepreneurs need to be stay open and attentive when they have a partnership or collaboration opportunities with the other enterprises, and in many cases collaborative initiative and joint venture is always open to achieve the social and business goals much and much more rather than an individual entrepreneurs. Let's take an example. A refugee investment network partnered with Village Capital to offer an investment readiness tool designed for refugee entrepreneurs. So the entrepreneurs who work for the refugees and how they will collaborate and partner with the Village Capital so that they will design and offer and use that investment readiness tool for such entrepreneurs. Next one is persistence. Social entrepreneurs will always take major talent, you can see challenges, so that our society has to offer. So this often creates a recipe for the early stage failures as well. And the successful social entrepreneurs are the ones who always persist past initial setbacks and accordingly to deliver the effective solutions. So if any of the social entrepreneurs who are actually facing you can say initial or early stage failures, so it is very important to go back and just to persist the past initial setbacks to deliver the effective solutions to all those issues. So, experienced social entrepreneurs know how to learn from the failures, how to adjust their methods whenever necessary, how to make a continuous strategic improvement. So, don't give up. If it's first you don't succeed. So, don't give if you don't succeed. Change your methods, change your strategies, and your failures will turn into the success. Being as a social entrepreneurs. So let's have a classification of the social entrepreneurship. So the three main classification is the social bricklayer, the social constructionist, and the social engineers. So there is a various aspects to classify to understand these three main classification based on the comparison basis. The market focus, the local market would be the focused area of the social break color. The social constructionist is a broader aspect towards the market, that how they will perceive, how they will understand the market's trends, how they forecast the market. That is a focus area of the social constructionist. Social engineers, that is, it focus on the entire social system and how they will change the entire social society perspective by providing up the maximum to maximum, you can say, services. Next one is knowledge. The social entrepreneurs under the first category needs a local social needs to understand and to understand the local social needs or the local people about their needs and desires. Next one is the for the social constructionist, a less dominant specific. There is no specific area, a specific field knowledge is required. But for the social engineers, a highly dominant specific knowledge is required, either to be the information technology expert, the finance expert, the marketing and sales expert as well. So automatically, when we talk about the social constructionist, there is no more knowledge, specific field knowledge is required. Only the less domain specific can be possible, can be you can say adjustable and manageable in case of the social constructionist. Resource access. In case of the social bricklayer, poor. It should be the poor resources access would be occur, exist. But in case of the social constructionist, with the support of a local community, would be the best resource for the social entrepreneurs. When we talk about the social engineers, the high investment with the institutional support of the government is exist being as a resource access. Scope, localized areas or states would be the part of the scope of the social bricklayer. Social constructionist is a local and international, and the social engineers is global. So at the global extent, the social engineers who work for the country. Next one is scale, a small scale social breaker. You can see the managers or they work on a small scale, but social constructionists they work on a small to large scale. Social engineers are extremely on a large scale only. They work on a large scale. Solution localized, so local issues with their solution would be provided by the social curricular managers. Social constructionist is a many different issues with their solution could be provided by the social constructionist, and the global context issues and concern and its workable actions to be provided by the social engineers. Next one is applicability. It depends upon the you can say contest or a single contest related to a localized issue, a different contest which related to a different issues. Let's come up to the example of three when we talk about the social bricklayer, that is the local and training and development and educational services is to be provided for potential entrepreneurs. That means the freshers into all those freshers entrepreneurs. When we talk about the social constructionist, the multi-regional services to be provided, like to conduct the standardized food and drug assistance programs. When we talk about the social engineers, here we will talk about the global or international perspective. That means the global financial training and assistance program is to be conducted, targeted at the specific groups. Now we can come up with the another most important topic, how to distinguish between the social entrepreneurship and the corporate entrepreneurship. So when we talk about the social entrepreneurship with the aspect of purpose, it's to bring the positive social change. But in case of the corporate entrepreneurship, the main objective of corporate entrepreneurship, your business entrepreneurship, is to maximize the wealth, the assets of the company, including personal and all of the stakeholders who work for the company, within the company and outside the company. Next is goal, to identify and solve the social problems. But when we talk about the corporate entrepreneurship, is to identify the niche market and need fulfillment of their market needs. Next one is growth. Growth through the sustainability, that how they will manage, you can say, their problems, how would they face their problems, people, how the people would face their problems, how the change is to be sustained. It could be one of the social entrepreneurs plays a very important role to have a growth through sustainability. Next one is the in case of the corporate entrepreneurship, growth through the customer satisfaction. The next one is grounding, the market and the government incapability to provide a prevailing social problems. But in corporate entrepreneurship, the market potential is more enough, is a route for such businesses. Value creation, social value is much more important to create in the society or communities. But in corporate entrepreneurship, economic value is more important in terms of funds, in terms of, you can say, the economic status of the companies, or the people who work for the companies. Next one is outcomes. The social problems, elimination or mitigation would exist, but in the corporate entrepreneurship, creation of wealth is more important. Entrepreneurs' role, full and direct involvement at all stages from ideation to implement. But when we talk about corporate entrepreneurship, full and direct involvement at all stages in idealism or to implement. Next one is collaboration, required at all stages from idealism to implement the actions for a social change. But when in case of corporate entrepreneurship, collaboration may not be required. Now we can talk about the social entrepreneurship and present scenario in India. According to the SWAP Foundation report in 2021, corporate social entrepreneurs are all those individuals who always use the company resources and just make up the connections to help others, how they will access the financial resources, technology, education. So a growing number of the public social entrepreneurs always leading their cities or institutions who always work with the government, with the more efficient government services, with providing up, you can see, public engagement services, and of course, having up a more and more public and private collaborations. So the social innovators in Africa, Asia, and America, which always get a more and more benefited greatly from the research and development efforts of the social innovation thought leaders. So, according to this foundation, the top sectors where social entrepreneurs have contributed the more is education, economic development, and enterprise development. There are seven self development groups who are at the central stage, a worldwide call to take an action from the healthy and developing nation. And such groups are mainly based on the decades of efforts by the government and the United Nations. And the division of such groups in the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Welfare, which always aims to provide support and assistance to all those who need help and training, to those social entrepreneurs who are willing to contribute to achieve the one of the few mission or aims of the self development groups. So the 2030 agenda can only become a reality if all the stakeholders take an ownership of such self-development groups and come forward to take a strong commitment to put efforts into an action. So this is the one of the few groups, few aims of such self-development groups. That is, should be zero poverty to be there, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. So these are the basically nine missions that the particular self-development groups has to focus, so that through these particular mission they can transform the world. Zero in reduced inequality, sustainability, cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace and justice, strong institutions, and partnership to achieve the goals. So that means a collaboration to achieve the goals, which has been mentioned in this particular list. Social entrepreneurs can refer to any of these 17 self-development groups and align their activities accordingly. And these goals is being considered as a broad guidelines or a challenges to identify the problems in these particular segments. Now there is a case of social entrepreneurs, that is the Karo Sambhav. Prashu is the founder of the Karo Sambhav, a company which always works with the producer, with the brands to come up with you can say transformative circular and extended producer responsibility solution, which called EPR solution. Garo Sambhav is building a local ecosystem to set up a strong solution for India-wide collection and recycling and the management for the secondary materials, all about the waste of material, how they can recycle and use that waste material for its own purpose. So the technology platforms and system used by Karo Samba, it always helps with good governance, fairness, trust, transparency and tracking. Like Apple, Cisco, Dell, HP, Ericsson are the some of the brands that have worked with Karo Sambhav. Oppo, Xiaomi, Ishawali, Toshiba, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Kevin Care, Reliance, Luminous, Saint Gobain. So where they have joined with the Karo Sambhav, you can see a company, and along with that, they have worked with them. Karo Sambhav worked with a wide range of partners like IFC, ILO, Zinc, WAFI Forum, GWMA, Meeting Mate, FICCI to to co-create the industry level framework and engagement programs which automatically change the people habit over time and make it possible to collect and recycle the waste material on a large scale in a responsible way. So Karosambhav is always work for the welfare of the particular society and community, and this is how they have collaborated with the reputed companies, and they have a wide range of partners that how they will change the people habits over time and make it possible to collect all those waste and recycle the waste material on a larger scale in India. So this is how one of the aim of the Karo Sambhav company. Now we can come up to the next, that is called next section or the next term, that is called the rural entrepreneurship. The rural entrepreneurship refers to all those initiatives or activities which are related or to the establishment of the industrial and the business units in the rural areas. Focusing on the rural area or the rural India is all about the rural entrepreneurship and the individuals being as an entrepreneur who are engaged or for the development of the rural areas by establishing the industrial and business units so that the social problems which are faced by those rural India like poverty, migration, economic disparity, unemployment, underdevelopment. So automatically through establishment of the industrial and business units, these problems can be resolved in rural areas and the backward region. And that is all about the rural entrepreneurship. So the rural entrepreneurship is concentrate on finding and stimulating the rural entrepreneur talents. They always focus to identify, to hire, to the rural entrepreneur talents, and we come forward to promote the growth of indigenous enterprises who always work to establish in industry or business units in the rural areas or backward regions to safeguard the lives of such people. So the rural entrepreneurship augments the economic value of the rural areas to introducing the new methods of production, introducing the new markets, new products in rural areas. Moreover, through constructing the industrial and the business units in the rural area, it also offers the employment opportunities or generate the employment opportunities in the rural areas, which ensures the rural development. So, in simple words, I could say the rural entrepreneurship emerging in rural areas is called rural entrepreneurship. Or in other words, while any entrepreneur or any individual being as a team establish industries in the rural area is also refers to the rural entrepreneurship. So automatically it means rural entrepreneurship is synonymous to the rural industrialization. So that's all about an overview of the rural entrepreneurship. Now we can talk about the types of the rural entrepreneurship. The first one is individual entrepreneurship. That one individual is involved who owns his own company. So when an individual is willing to set up any business, taking into account of various benefits and threats, their own resources, the capital can be gathered from the capitalists and the financial companies and providing the needs you can say of a strong business admin, that's called the individual entrepreneurship. Next one is group entrepreneurship. So when a small group of individuals are involved, they can work together, they can create a business unit in industry, and they rely on the abilities and the capabilities or qualities of the talented people to build it, and that's called a group entrepreneurship. They are mainly focused on the group efforts rather than solo efforts. Next one is the cluster formation. So the clustering is always being aimed to settling with the exposure to all the interconnected and contending institutions. So the clusters usually form when the commercial activities inside a particular supply chain are consolidated. So there are various organizations like non-government organization, NGOs, voluntary organization, VOs, self-help groups, that is SH groups, community-based organizations, CPO, always participate and the business will form accordingly. So the benefits of such groups or formation of such groups includes the economies of scale, a strong supply chain is built up, and most importantly, the sharing revenue growth with significant social impact on the societies and communities. Next one is cooperatives. So independent group of citizens undoubtedly satisfy the common interest and the requirements with a jointly owned venture. It's not only consists the formal or informal activities, but also consists a special team who work on a specific segments like artifact makers, livestock, fishing businesses, etc. So these businesses, the people who are engaged into these businesses, they have a specific knowledge to run this business effectively. The establishments mentioned above are the fantastic examples that how they will combine the ingenuity and the innovation in the grassroots level to overcome the rural challenges. The best example of cooperative is organic farming. So how it's a group of citizens who are united each other to satisfy the common interest and requirements with the jointly own ventures. Now we can come up to the benefits of the rural entrepreneurship. So the reduction in equidus to cities. So there is always that the migration or the people who are migrated into cities, searching for a livelihood, creating an unhealthy competition for both resources and opportunities. So automatically through the rural entrepreneurship it get reduced. So automatically the issues relating to a health and the maintenance issue could be segregated. Next one is improving chances for success in rural development initiatives. So rural development can be used as a tool to improve the life and infrastructure. So there is a plenty of pressure on the government and how they will implement a new schemes and initiatives. So it is very difficult for the schemes to apply for at the initial stages due to the lack of opportunities in the current situation in rural India. So, by building up the rural entrepreneurship opportunities, it is possible the social schemes and development schemes could be a thought for the government or by the government that they could consider and just have a fruitful position for the rural people in India. Next one is enhances the economic conditions. So when the local produce or production is consumed, there is a spending and more returns on production is to be earned. So the greater surplus income on their hands, the poverty level could be reduced. So automatically, when more and more returns is to be there on the production, then automatically the poverty would get reduced in the country, unemployment rates will also get increased, and in this way, the pattern of the local markets and the local industries could be developed. And it could be done through the rural entrepreneurship only in rural areas and how their social problems and economic conditions could be improved or eliminated. Next one is Rural entrepreneurship can become positive contributor to the nation growth as well. So the rates where the rural markets are contributing to the nation GDP is not on par but with industry in urban areas. So automatically it could be a chance for a positive contributor because there is a lot of rural industries are regrowing because of a lack of educated support and opportunities by the government. So if the rural entrepreneurship are to be provided or promoted, so it will add another unique element to the economy of the country, and it becomes a second engine of the nation development as well. It can break down the social stigma. So if the rural entrepreneurship is promoted, a basic stigmas and the dogmas can be removed. This is because by increasing the wealth and financial capital and access to education awareness, people can tend to get over the basic stigmas and dogmas will be practiced in villages and rural areas and in some way. So one of the things that has been proven to work as a tool is social reform, so that it could be done through educating more well in the rural communities. Next one is the enhancing the domestic consumption. While there is a lot of pressures on the countries that plenty of experts who meet up the payouts of the country level, it is important if the domestic consumption can be improved, people are more capable in buying and consuming enough so that the economy domestic consumption could be reduced, could be improved rather than reduced. So the dependency for foreign exchange to our economy will be reduced. Now we can come up to the disadvantages, lacking experience and understanding. Definitely, when you don't have any experience and understanding, no proper skills and ability for a business potential within the village community, that is, the rural entrepreneurship cannot be promoted. Lack of funding. Capital is equally important for any business, and the rural business may have always been a concern with the generating funds for the entrepreneurs. Inadequate entrepreneur willingness. So the vast majority of the rural residents are unsure that what would be the best approach to the corporate world to apply for. So the preferences for being employed as labor is really a lacking point, but ultimately through the rural entrepreneurship, a unique and innovative mission are the factors which are limit the spread of enterprising in the rural areas. Need for professional knowledge is also as the lack of administrative, scientific, and commercial enterprises. Rural entrepreneurship cannot be promoted in the rural areas. Limited, next one is limited infrastructure amenities. So the rural regions are affected by the lack of infrastructure options like expressway, dams, supermarket, power, information exchange, etc. Next disadvantage is unfavorable socio-economic environment. So as there is a social stratifications, there is separate groups of social communities, cultural ills, religious myths, and other factors. It's always reduce the development of the intuitive nature and the preferences of the items which are manufactured by the multinationals and you can say large corporation complicate the matters very significantly for aspiring entrepreneurs. And the last one is absence of marketing knowledge. As for the businesses, the need for effective interaction and access to appropriate and you can say is much more required, and the reliable data is also required for the rural entrepreneurships to build up or to construct the business units in that particular respective rural areas. Now we can come up to the government actions to promote rural entrepreneurship. There's a Khadi and Village Industry Commission has been linked up as a prominent body to form such. In the National Small Industries Corporation Limited as well, we can say NSIA. So these are the government actions. There are more government actions, or more industries or companies has been constructed, has been made up, developed. There are more programs for the to promote rural entrepreneurship has been developed. So there are plenty of work has been done by the government, by the private entrepreneurs who are always work for the rural development. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening this lecture. I'll come up to the more and more relevant, interesting topic in the upcoming session. Till time, namaste to all.